Here's a look at another Willow Leaf Ficus that I've got. This is it back in June of 24, so a little over a year ago from now. I picked this up at a nursery. It was just a little guy. I didn't get any footage of it when I first got it. I think I got it somewhere around 23. But when I started realizing that it was looking good, I started getting footage. Here it is in August of 24, so 1 year ago. It's got kind of a goofy structure, and I used these guy wires at one point to try to pull the branches down and get it to spread out a little bit, and it sort of worked. But what it's got going for it is that taper in the trunk. It's got really good taper, so the base of the trunk is really wide, relatively speaking, and it kind of tapers up and gets skinnier as it goes up. Here it is in October, and at this point, I realized that something's got to be done. So the structure of the tree is such that kind of all, or at least most of those branches come out of the same general location. So it's sort of a wonder that it's got this taper at all and doesn't have reverse taper. I posted a video a couple of weeks ago of another Willow Leaf Ficus that I've got where that was the exact case. All the branches coming out of one spot, getting some reverse taper, and I had to take major corrective action. But here you can see it has back budded down the branch, kind of closer to the trunk. So it seems obvious what I've got to do. I got to do kind of a reset. Take all these branches back down and then do a little bit of branch selection and determine what is the structure? What do I want the structure to be? And boom. Done. It's perfect. Just kidding. It looks so goofy like that. So off it goes. So this was the point where I decided to name it Stumpy. For obvious reasons. It's kind of a stump. I also repotted it. I really wish I would have gotten some earlier footage of it when I first picked it up from the nursery. I don't know why I didn't. But for whatever reason, I didn't. These Willow Leaf Ficus are, they're a lot of fun. They're sort of sensitive, but sort of not. Sensitive as in, it seems like every Willow Leaf Ficus I have, about once a year, it just gets kind of sad, and it just defoliates itself. And at first I would kind of freak out like something was wrong, but then it just regrows all of its leaves. So I don't know why they do that, but they all do that. Sometimes it's just easier to do a little root trimming like this and get a better look at size and radius. So it's definitely a smaller bonsai tree, but structurally speaking, now I like it. And I like the taper and I like the species. It's my usual soil mix: volcanic rock, perlite, pumice, little bit of pine bark, and this actually had some macadamia in it too, which I've not used as much since that last batch. Once I got it in the position that I wanted it to be, kind of like that. Do a little bit of fine tuning on the roots. Then I work the soil into the roots, make sure there's no air pockets or anything. And this was a look at Stumpy after repotting it back in October of 2024. And I'll show you some of the progress through the winter and up to current day. You can see some of those big branch chops there, big root chop down there. Looks very different, for sure. Put a few decorative rocks in there and also just help with stability and holding it in place. It's not as sure a thing as wiring it into the pot for sure, but there's pros and cons to wiring and there's pros and cons to using decorative stones. I prefer the stones. October might seem like a weird time of year to repot, but I found it not to be that bad, really. They've got all that growing momentum of all summer. Here it is in November. Doesn't look a ton different. Maybe a few extra leaves. Nothing really to brag about, focus on too much, but just a quick look here. You'll see it start to take off here in a minute. You can kind of see the little buds popping out there. So I'm pretty optimistic. Then fast forward just a little. Here it is in the beginning of December. It's in the grow tent, kind of way in the back there, so I just stick the camera back there as best I can. You can see it's starting to leaf out a little more now. A lot more, actually. Here it is in February, so about 2 months later, and here it's really taken off. So it's starting to look like a little tree again, and less like a stump. But I think it's going to take some time to really get that structure right. Probably going to have to do some more corrections here and there. So one last look at it here from February of 25. Still has that good taper that I liked about it. Fast forward about 3 months. Here it is in May of 25. Looking pretty healthy. Considering what it looked like 7 months prior in October, when I took it down to a stump, I'd say it looks a lot different. So that's the status as of May. And then fast forward to August. You see it's really bushed out. I didn't trim it all summer, I just let it grow. This was just yesterday, actually. I kind of expected I was going to have to do some major branch pruning in there, but surprisingly, the structure really wasn't too bad. And what I mean by that is I just expected, 3, 4, 5 branches would be popping out of one spot here and one spot there, but not too much. There's a little bit of that, but not much. When that happens, you kind of just have to reset almost over and over again. Take it back down to 2 branches coming out of one spot. But then once you get that kind of established, then those 2 branches coming out of one spot can subdivide into 4 branches, 2 branches each, and then the 4 into 8, etc., etc. And then over time, eventually you get that really nice structure where it looks like a nice tree. So for now, I'm just doing some kind of light trimming, really. Looking for long shoots, taking it back to 2 or 3 nodes or 2 or 3 leaf sets. Maybe even 1 in some cases. But it was kind of nice in this particular case. I didn't have to make giant decisions and branch selection. So I got to keep it sort of in its same shape, really. I rarely get that lucky. Couple of noteworthy items. These do propagate very easy from cuttings. I ended up with tons and tons of cuttings this year. And oftentimes they get that taper, that trunk taper, kind of just on their own and rather quickly too. I had another one that I started from cutting and it got really good taper. My main Willow Leaf Ficus, it has really good taper. So I guess these trees just lend themselves well to that. Here's the pot I'm going to repot it in today or yesterday. I thought a round pot would be better just because it doesn't have a very strict front or back. It looks pretty decent all around from all angles. So a tree like that, I think just lends itself better to a round pot. In the meantime, I'm just going to clean off the roots. I'll get all the soil off, then take it out and kind of hose it down for a second, just to clean it up. But the root situation is looking pretty good. No big corrections needed there either. Sometimes I just get lucky. So I'll do some light trimming. Couple of roots going in oddball directions, but I'll straighten those out. Same soil mix as before, except without the academia. And this time, I'm going to play it safe rather than sorry. Put a little stone underneath it, just to ensure that the roots continue to grow out radially instead of straight down. Every time I do that with a tree, I'm always thankful that I did it. Later on, I repot it. I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad I did that. Just makes a big difference. So same as before, I just get all the soil worked into the roots. Get it all potted up. Put some decorative stones on there. I usually use the same stones that I used before I repotted it. Kind of like a superstition, I guess. I don't know. And now I'm kind of doing some last minute touch-ups. I'm going to find leaves that are going straight down or sticking straight out in some goofy way. And just prune the leaves just so that it kind of looks clean and neat. Like right there, right there. And you can just cut leaves right in half sometimes. Doesn't really hurt it. And just for scale, I put that little charger box there just to kind of give a perspective of how small this one really is. Here's a closer look at it. Tough little trees. The only thing they don't like is cold. They will not tolerate cold or frost. And occasionally they get sad and drop their leaves. But other than that, they're pretty tough. So that's how it ended up today. My little stumpy willow leaf ficus. Let me know what you think. Or let me know if you've got any tips or tricks on these. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.